How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about the things that you hear people complain about the most in RuneScape 3, and there's a good reason for it. We're going to discuss what it actually is, and then we'll talk about maybe a possible solution with it as well. This is just meant to be entertaining, it's just meant to be interesting. Part of this video isn't to point out that everybody complains or give any bad light on the game. It is just an interesting video, and I wanted to talk about it. Anyway, if you do enjoy the video, leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's get going, shall we? Now, I think once we get into this, we'll actually realize there's probably a lot of stuff that we do complain about almost daily, probably, or maybe fairly often at least. And I'm sure there's some people in here that probably just don't care and get on with the day and go, whatever, it is what it is. And you're probably a newer player rather than the people who've been around quite a bit longer, like myself. And we just complain. We just like to complain. It's okay though. We all do it, and it's absolutely fine. So the first thing is going to be the big surprise one that everyone didn't expect. Death costs. We all complain about death costs. Now, I know there's some people in the game that don't actually complain about it because they go, it's good for the game, it's good for these money sink, and it's absolutely great, and it doesn't affect me. You want to take all the switches, blah, 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 blah. And they're not wrong in a way as well. Everyone, there's no middle ground to this. There's like, you're not going to get people on a middle ground unless they just don't care. That is the only middle ground that you could possibly get. But even then, it's just, I don't care. You're not even involved. You're sort of off to the side. But death costs is definitely something that gets a lot of complaints about, and I personally complain about it too. Now, the only time I complain about it is if, for example, the other day I was doing ED1 and I decided I was going to do about 4 hours of ED1 just to get some guaranteed money. And I got about 3 runs in. I was on my 3rd run actually, and as I came to the bit where there's all the mages together all grouped up, my internet disconnected. Now, I was using one of the new beautiful perfect rings that Jagex added into the game called the Channeler's Ring. The Channeler's Ring helps me crit more when I'm using magic, and it is my risk that I'm using this. I don't take a Ring of Death, and that is my own risk because I am in the ED1 and I know that I'm good at ED1. So I'm fine. I'm like, I'm not going to die. I'm not on stream getting distracted or anything. I'll be absolutely fine. Boom. Internet goes. This is when death costs kind of wind me up a little bit. So the first kill, I got 7 scales. The second kill, I got 4 scales. So I made 11 mil. This is not factoring in any other costs into the entire hour whatsoever. And of course, once you do add that in, I've made a little bit less, probably about 9 to 10 mil. My death costs were bang on 11 mil. It was just slightly over by like 80k or something. And frick, like that whole hour and a bit is just gone. It's just absolutely wasted. And that's when death costs kind of hurt for me. But at the same time, people feel restricted. They can't use these new rings that Jagex added into the game because it's just not worth the risk. They get punished for trying to do better by bringing extra stuff with them. And while it is their own risk that they're bringing that, and I kind of see the point that everyone comes from saying like, but you don't have to bring all the stuff that pushes your death costs up. You're choosing to do that. That's absolutely true. They are choosing to do that, but they shouldn't get punished to the point where if they want to change one item, which is their ring, that Jagex added into the game recently, they've added this. If they want to change one item for a few bonus stats, their death cost shouldn't go that high. Now, people say, but you're bringing flanking, you're bringing lunging, you're bringing 5 essence of finalities, which frick, I don't think anyone is, but pretty close to 3 probably. And that's their excuse of saying death costs, it's your own fault. But that's not the point. They can bring a Ring of Death and bring all that stuff, and the death cost is exactly the same. It's the second you switch that ring. As soon as you switch that ring to something else, it's all screwed up. And this is a problem. It really is. It's not a gold sink. It's just a pain in the ass. If they wanted a gold sink, they could do it in so many other ways. They could add a 1% tax to the Grand Exchange. They could add a 1% tax to the Duel Arena. They could do a hell of a lot more than just this. Death cost is definitely something that will probably get some attention in the comments. So get down below. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Am I completely wrong? Do you completely disagree? Do you agree with me? You don't have to agree, by the way. If you disagree, let me know. I don't mind. You guys can disagree. It's like the best part. Anyway, that was like 3.5 minutes on the first one. The other ones shouldn't be as big a problem. Let's talk about that. Next on this list of amazing things that we all complain about is going to be bank space. Bank space is something I struggle with on a daily, seeing as my bank space probably has about 950 slots in at the moment. I know a lot of people have way more than that, and you can buy more on the Solomon store. But personally, I don't want to spend rune coins on that. I'll just clear my bank, that's not a problem. But bank space is something we all complain about because you know what you do. You go do Slay, you come back, you dump everything in the bank. You leave placeholders in now, especially now that we have placeholders. You leave it all in there, you never clear it out, and you either get to the point where you're just deleting placeholders to make space for new stuff, which is just like another way of putting it off for another week. You basically you're gonna run out eventually anyway, because you just are. But deleting placeholders is something I did for a long time, and eventually it does fill up. You get to the point where you have to sort your bank out, or you just complain about it, because complaining fixes problems, right? Maybe not. Personally, I don't see any way we can really get a solution for this other than buy up the extra bank space, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up filling that as well. I have 950, mine's full. I know people who have like 1,200, theirs is full, and I'm pretty sure you can't get much higher than 1,200-ish. But other than Jagex just giving us those bank spaces for free, or upping that if they can, which I assume would probably cause things like lag issues or something like that, loading in all those items in every single world. I have no idea how it works, to be fair, but if anyone does have any sort of ideas or solutions that we could maybe have applied to this other than them just throwing bank space at us, get in the comments, let us know. What do you do to make your bank a little bit easier to not overfill and stuff? I'd be interested in finding out, and I'm sure other people will as well. So the next thing that we complain about a lot is something that I complain about probably more than most people, and it's something that just confuses the living hell out of me because I don't understand how it all works probably, but at the same time it's not really my job to understand how it works, and it's basically going to be the fact that if you are on a world with 300 or more people on it, you're going to be experiencing delay or lag on the server side. No matter what you do, no matter how good your internet connection is, no matter if you lived next door to where they keep the server or whatever, however it works, you would still have lag. You could have 3 ping and you could still have delay. The reason for this is the server just struggles to actually take that much of a load, and it does end up having a delay giving you the response back once you've clicked or once you've done stuff. And this is where dead clicks come from as well. You might hear people talking about dead clicks, which is something I planned on putting a separate thing, but it kind of ties in together with this, is where you click something and the server just doesn't respond at all. You just stood there like dead, pretty much. Maybe not stood, just laying on the ground dead like an absolute idiot. Or me. Let's go with me. That's probably the better example. But basically, the dead clicks is you tell the server something, the server doesn't catch it, and you just have to click it again and again. This is why people spam click. This is why you have to send commands more than once sometimes. This is why people complain about the server lag. It's because, like I say, it can't take the load, and once there's 300 plus people, PVMing can become really difficult for the people who are used to it. Now, there's going to be people scratching their head, and I promise you, there'll be people scratching their head, people who have worse ping than the people who are complaining. You'll have someone who's complaining, they'll have 5 ping or 20 ping, whatever's average, and then they'll be complaining every time there's server lag. However, the people who are playing with like 150, 200 ping, maybe even from like somewhere else that has 300 ping because there's not a server nearby, and you have to basically play on like an American server that's just way out of range for you. But basically, the reason you guys don't actually notice the difference in player count to lag is because you live with lag. To you, that is normal. However, we're used to timings on bosses that is super responsive. Once you train yourself to get used to that timing, you react to that timing without thinking about it. And once you get that taken away, once you're used to it for 99% of the time, and then the second that 1% happens and it's laggy, you click away, it's too late because it takes longer for it to send that to the server, for the server to register that you've clicked there, and then you've got to move away and you're dead basically. A great thing to explain this with is Raksha's spin. You can be in range for Raksha's spin in the melee distance, and then as soon as you see him spin, you would click away and then you can move out the distance, you'd be absolutely fine. But as soon as you introduce lag to someone who has no delay normally, because of the delay and the response time, you would have to click earlier to register that. But because you're not used to it, and because maybe you didn't realize you actually had the delay yet, you click away at the normal time, and then it's too late. He's already decided that he's going to be spinning. Your character doesn't move, and you're dead. So this is something that is a bit of an issue. People complain about it quite a bit, and I complain about it quite a lot. Personally, I have no idea how they'd fix this. Some people have told me in the past, throw money at the servers and improve them. Some people have told me that's not possible. Some people have said they'd have to rewrite the entire code. Some people have said they'd have to just completely change the way the network works. I have no idea what the answer is. I'm sure someone will tell me down below, and I would really appreciate that. But yeah, people definitely complain about this a lot, and there's a good reason why. The next thing actually ties in with the last one kind of, but it's a bit different so I can separate it off. People complain about the tick system in the game. Now the tick system doesn't really tie in with lag, but it also makes the game feel really laggy. And that's why people complain. You click something and if you're off of tick, if you're not clicking at the right time in the tick, it doesn't seem responsive. It makes the game feel laggy, makes it feel clunky. And this is a big complaint that we hear from new players to the game. The tick system is probably one of the biggest new player killers to this game that I can actually tell, because as far as I know, most people that I have had tried that get into this game have gone, the tick system threw me off. Like, I did not like it. It was disgusting. It made the game feel laggy and stiff and non-responsive. It felt like I was constantly lagging, even when I wasn't. Now, as people who've been playing for a while, we get used to it. We're used to how it feels. We know that if when we click, we don't respond straight away. It was probably just because of the tick system, and it was waiting for the next bit to register it. We're kind of used to that. We know it in the back of our minds, and it's just something that we're used to, like I say. But for a new player who gets into this game, they click, they expect expect their characters to move immediately. And if they don't, then they're like, frick's sake. One, there's a click to move thing, which is super outdated, but it just has to work like that on RuneScape. And I love it. Like, it's fine. I'm used to it. It's not a problem. But for a new player getting into the game, they're like, oh, click to move. Okay, well, we can try out. And then when they click, it doesn't respond. That's even worse. So they're like, oh, it's lagging. It's lagging. Why is it lagging? I'm checking my internet, I'm checking this and that. And then suddenly they go, there's a tick system. There's a tick system, and I don't like it. And while that is just the way RuneScape works, it is definitely something that a lot of new players and even current players like that have been playing for a while all complain about. Hearing people complain about the tick system is something that happens probably on a daily basis, and I completely understand it. It definitely is something that's a little bit irritating, but at the same time, it's just the way of the game, and we're all used to it, and it's not that bad at the end of the day, because we're just sort of used to it and that's just how the game is. But it would be nice if there was like a way that they could change that. I really don't think they can. I'm pretty sure a solution for this one would be the same thing as like the servers that I mentioned before. I think they'd have to rewrite quite a lot of stuff, but I'm not 100% sure. So people who do know, get in the comments, let me know if that's the sort of thing they'd have to do, because I'm pretty sure the tick system's pretty deep into everything. I'm pretty sure you can't just change how it works or make the ticks faster or just remove it. I don't think it's that simple. The next thing that I hear complaints about quite a lot, and to be honest, I can completely understand this one as well. Most of them are very understandable, but it's just things that we just like to make sure our points of view are known. This one is going to be outdated or dead content. There's a lot of dead content in the game, and basically what that means is things like mini games and just anywhere basically that people go. The whole wilderness feels like dead content, to be honest. But basically where people just don't go anymore. There's just not really much use for it. It's not the efficient way to do anything, or it's just been replaced by something else. Now the way I see it is there's probably going to be two ways of looking at this. There may be more, but this is the way I'm going to look at it. You've got dead content that is made by something else being added to the game and making the previous thing redundant. This isn't too bad because you've got something to replace that with, as long as everyone can still access that, as long as it's not like all for end game, but no one does the low end stuff anymore, so even the low end players can't do the low end stuff. I feel like this isn't too bad of a thing because these are still content in the game that does the same sort of thing, and everyone's just moved over to something else. However, when you've just got dead content that has just been ruled off, there's just nothing else to do, there's just no reason to use it. For example, most mini games are like this. The only real reason that people do most of the mini games now is to get Thorler, and you get that through having a spotlight on the actual mini game. People will do just the mini game spotlight, but they won't even do the mini game. They'll just AFK in there if they can. For example, Castle Wars. When Castle Wars is in spotlight, you tend to just have people just AFK, just chilling AFK to get the Thorler from the mini game. But at the same time, you will have some people still doing it, but as soon as that is not spotlight, you are not going to really see anyone doing Castle Wars. You may see the odd clan here and there turn up, but otherwise that is completely dead content. No one is doing it, and it kind of feels bad because it's part of the game that just seems to have been just left redundant. Whether we could see a difference to this by updating the rewards that are in there, because the rewards are the same, I believe, from when the game actually released, or if they've been changed, they've not been changed for a long time, and the rewards are just kind of not all that interesting for players to go ahead and play the game. Not only that, the PvP, the way PvP works in RuneScape 3 just really isn't that big of an interest for most people. Even though Castle Wars is a safe game, PvP just doesn't really feel all that fun for most players, so it's definitely something that is dead. But dead content is definitely something that people complain about quite a bit, and it makes sense because it'd be nice if those things could be revived. I get it, not everyone is going to be doing everything in the game anymore, like it's old, it's not going to be the main focus, but some sort of rework on the rewards may be able to bring enough people back in so that you can still go and have a few games here and there if you wanted to, just for example. What do you guys think? If the rewards changed for Castle Wars, would you be interested in going back and actually just having a few games here and there depending on what the rewards were? So the final thing that I'm going to talk about that we like to all complain about is going to be specific skills. Skills that need a rework, skills that have been left for quite a while, and there's just not really any use for them except for doing max. The big one that comes off the top of my head is going to be construction. There's at the moment like no reason to do construction at all unless you're just going for max. Of course, you do get your armor repair stand, which is absolutely, that's fine, that makes sense to use because it does give you cheaper repair costs on armor, but at the same time, like, it doesn't really matter that much. It's not that big of a deal, and do you really want to get your construction all the way up just for an armor repair stand when you could just pay a little bit extra for your repair costs? I don't know, I feel like there's definitely some skills that need reworked, and I am sure the Jagex are aware of this and they are working on it because they've done reworks on other skills as well and made those a lot better, a lot more relevant, and that's absolutely great. But it would just be nice to see. And of course, this is still something that people complain about because if you want to max, you got to sit there and destroy an object in your house and replace it, and destroy the object and replace it, and then destroy the you can see where this is going. It's just boring. And the same goes for things like agility. There's not really too much to do with agility. Like, you can just run around a freaking a course. Yeah, yes, it does save you some run energy while you're running around, like it does scale with that, and there are shortcuts, but that's it. There could be so much more of agility, I feel like there could be such more like rework added into that, but it's definitely something that people complain about. And I remember when I was going for max and I did the exact same thing. I hated construction. That was probably one of the worst skills after hunter. I think construction might have been my worst skill, because it was literally just place an object, delete it, place an object, delete it, and it hurt your freaking hand. They have added the flat pack thing now, which I think makes it a little bit more AFK, or it makes it AFK, but I don't know what the experience rates on those are. Someone will have to let me know. But either way, there's just no real reason to do construction and some other skills as well, so they definitely do get some complaints here and there. So we are going to leave it there for this video. There's definitely more. There absolutely is more. That being said, don't take this video in the wrong way, as complaints in games are actually good for its health, because as things get outdated, as things become issues, their complaints arise, the company usually hears it and they usually do something about it, right? And it's the same for Jagex. They do stuff, and you do have like the ninja fixes that will fix this, and the quality of life stuff, and they do reworks and skills. They do a good job of keeping up with it. There's a lot though, so obviously it can take some time. And then there's other aspects that just can't be changed, and to be honest, I'm kind of feeling that way about death costs. I don't know whether they just are at the point where they can't change death costs. Maybe there's too much to it than that. I don't know. Maybe it takes them way too long to actually change how that works, but who knows. Either way, guys, I really do hope that you enjoyed the video. If you have any solutions or ideas for any of the other complaints and stuff that we've mentioned already, then get in the comments and let me know what you think about that. Also, if you have anything else and you want to share anything else that people tend to complain about quite a bit in RuneScape, then drop them in the comments too. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you to my channel members for the extra support. It is always appreciated, so thank you very much. Your names will be on screen right now, and if anyone else is interested in joining the channel members, where you support the channel but also get some perks for yourself as well, then click that join button by the sub button, and you can have a look through and see what the perks are. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.